Hey guys, I've been trying to get this video done a whole day, but I want to do a recap of the race action this weekend at Kansas and the playoff drama in the Cup Series. And of course, Xfinity always ends with some kind of drama or controversy, so the finish of that race was between Christopher Bell and Eric Jones, who's a Cup rookie, 21 years old, and Christopher Bell, 22, who's running currently in the Truck Series full time, going for a championship of his own. Um, Christopher Bell won that race due to a slide job move he did because he's a dirt racer, originally a dirt racer, and apparently Jones, the whiny little boy he is, didn't like it and said he wasn't clear when he was, obviously, and didn't like the way he got raced and say it's all Bell's fault and rather have been raced to the finish than being wrecked. I'm like, well, that's your fault. Should have done a crossover move when you knew he was going down deep. Bell was going down deep onto the track and then coming up. That's racing, dude. Get over it. You sound way too much like Kyle Busch now, and it's really irritating. Anyway, so that's Bell was a first-time winner in the Xfinity Series. That's 6 now. Just this year had him, Bowman, Alex Bowman, who'll be taking over Junior's ride next year in the 88 in the Cup Series, and had Tyler Reddick, who's going to be driving for JRM next year full time in the Xfinity Series. Then we had Ryan Preece, Jeremy Clements, and William Byron, who won at Iowa, his very first Xfinity race in the 9 car. So that was the Xfinity race. Now the Cup race. That gets interesting. Bunch of interesting incidents happened during that race. The first half was lackluster. It was just first couple stages were like meh, blase. There was like a couple cautions where it was just a seat filler, like running into the wall or blowing a tire, and then that would end the stage. So the second stage, it ended with a one-lap shootout where Denny Hamlin won that stage, and the first stage went to Kyle Busch. So it was a Toyota dominance as usual on a mile and a half. The fastest Ford to me was Ryan Blaney, who had to start dead last due to a post qualifying failed inspection for his car. So he started 40th and finished third where he originally qualified, but his time was disallowed. So, and then he drove through the field when some of the announcers were like, he can't do it before the first stage, which he did. So he proved them wrong. So he finished third, made it to the round of 8. The fastest Chevy was none other than my boy Chase in the 24. He's been the most dominant besides Truex in the playoffs, most consistent and the second best. He has 4 top 5s in 6 races, and his worst finish in 8 races has been 16th, and that was at Talladega last week, where he should have finished either in the top 5 or have won that race. But I will not get into that because it will go on forever. There was a few wrecks, a couple wrecks. A couple came from Jimmy, which they weren't really wrecks. He just spun out a couple times and thought his day was over after the first one and the second one. He never hit anything. He just went through the grass the first time and then almost hit the wall with the back end of his car the second time. Another one, Allmendinger spun out and was out of the race. He's irrelevant. So a big wreck that involved two playoff contenders, Kenseth and McMurray, and along with two rookies, Suarez and Jones, who I'm not happy with. I don't like. And the biggest shocker was Larson when his car's engine blew, his motor blew with only 73 laps into the race, and his playoff hopes are literally up in smoke. So that was a shocker because he was one of the favorites, the top three favorites to go to Homestead. So now it's down to two favorites: the Kyle Busch show and Truex. So the playoffs have been taken over by Toyota and one Ford win by Keselowski last week. Anyways, back to Kansas. One controversial issue that people are not seeming to get is two of them, I should say, the penalty Truex got, and then the penalty to the 20 of Kenseth got later in the race. The first one was the restart with Truex. They were told in the driver's meeting that the leaders, well, mainly the control car, who controls the restart, cannot go below the white line onto the apron before the start and finish line, which he did. He went below the white line before the start and finish line. Harvick went with him. Truex got penalized. Harvick didn't because he was just following the leader. So, but he ended up winning the race anyway because in whole NASCAR fashion, they favorite Toyota this year. So, just saying. I'm not going to get into that, but it's true. The next one was the 7 men over the wall on pit road. The 20 basically got parked and booted from the race because 7 crew members were over the wall after the red flag was lifted for the big wreck. So they were then allowed to work on the car. But 7 men cannot work on the car. Only 6, but the 7th one is allowed to service the driver, which that didn't happen with the 20 car. So they got booted from the race basically, and their championship hopes are done, which was a little extreme to me. So I don't agree with that, but the rule, just follow it, you won't have a problem. And then people start whining about the 48. So, this same thing, but 48 had the same thing go on, but they did it legally and followed the rules. They had 6 members over the wall servicing the car, working on the car, which that is allowed. And then this extra member over the wall, the 7th guy, is only allowed to service the driver, like give him water, ice, or tear off on the windshield, which that's what the guy did the tear off and went back over the wall. That's perfectly legal, and people are like whining, like, how is that a rule, and blah blah blah. That's the new rules every week. I'm like, that's not a new rule. It's been around since I've been, like, as long as I've been alive, basically. Anyway, they say Johnson should have made it the round of 8 because of that, and I'm like, learn the rules, and second, stop whining over Johnson just because he's better than your driver and has won more than your driver and won more championships. So that's your problem. But anyway, Jimmie Johnson narrowly made the round of 8. So the round of 8 tracks are perfect for him. He's great at Martinsville and Texas and Phoenix, all with a combined 20 wins at all 3 tracks. So he has a good chance of winning his 84th win of his career in one of those 3 tracks. And Texas is a great track for my boy Chase, the fastest Chevy in the playoffs. So the most consistent, I should say. So Truex, Keselowski, Jimmy, Denny, Harvick, Chase, and Blaney all made the round of 8. So it's 2 young guns against a bunch of veterans. So a couple of former champions, Jimmy and no, there's three champions. They're going up against Harvick, Jimmy, and Kyle Busch. So this should get interesting. Anyway, that was the drama for this past weekend. Trucks will be on track this weekend at Martinsville with Cup. It's only a 2-dayer, so the qualifying for Kansas led to the pit selection for Martinsville because they're qualifying the same day as the race, so that's why that's the whole situation with that. So Truex got the pole for Kansas, and he gets first pit selection at Martinsville this coming weekend. So that's how it goes. I don't really like that idea, but that's how it goes. So that's my rant for this week about Kansas and the playoffs. We'll see you at Martinsville, and then for Xfinity, see you at Texas.